morning sunshine, rocking the good time with all our friends. Easy and carefree, out in the summer breeze, loving a simple things for hours on end. Right about sundown, we lay on the ground, count on the stars as they come out one at a time. Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey everybody, I'm X Factor winner Tate Stevens, and welcome to the Sweet Life Podcast, where we talk about everything from music, sports, food, entertainment, and, well, just living the sweet life. Hey everybody, it's me, Tate Stevens, and as always, AJ Kronk.
Good job.
You like that?
I do. I
got it. All right, I'll drink it for you.
Yeah. That looks delicious.
Pretty tasty. Okay. AJ used to drink Monster Energy drinks, and every time he was on, he'd break one open. Well, I had to do it for him tonight because he stopped drinking them. He's trying to get healthy and stuff and not die by the age of 45.
Cold turkey.
That's terrible. So long, turkey.
So long. I quit drinking soda, tea.
Just anything with caffeine or
anything but water.
So you're just going to be a water guy. No more beer, no more Fireball.
Now, let's not talk crazy.
That's crazy talk.
I'm just saying. On a normal day-to-day, there for a while, I had it down to a system where I had one Monster a day.
Right.
And it was, enough to kind of get my tank moving there in the morning.
Yep.
But it turned into one during the day, then grab one on my lunch break, then, after work, and then, it turned into, my maximum's about 3 a day.
I try to have no more than two. And you're the one that got me going on them, the zero sugar ones. And so I try not to have more than two, and then, but it's usually one. I try to keep it to one, and then in the evening, maybe if I'm feeling tired. But tonight, since I knew you were done drinking them, I'm like, well, I have to open it, get one. So I guess I'm just going to start drinking beer the whole time we do this.
Just tell people it's Monster.
Anyway, all right. So before we get into our show, we have a good show. We're doing top 10 comedians, our top 10 comedians
that's right.
List tonight. But before we get into that, AJ's been on this health kick, finding things that are healthier versions of different things, like, bread and chips and things like that. He found these chicken chip things made of chicken skins or whatever. And I don't know. Some deep fried chicken skin. And
real healthy.
Real healthy. But anyway, so he got the chicken chips, and then he started eating those, and now he's moved on to bread. He's got the chicken bread now.
That's right. So I made a loaf of bread out of chicken.
No, you didn't. It's meatloaf. It's a chicken loaf. And it's just like chicken loaf. It's not.
For those watching, I'll be sure to make sure
riveting.
This makes the YouTube.
Oh my God.
Boom. It's all like condensation there.
Yeah. Okay. So
look at that loaf.
It somewhat, it looks to me, it's like, on Thanksgiving and stuff and Christmas when you get, people make like pumpkin loaves and stuff. It's kind of what it looks like to me.
All right. Let me slice off a couple.
Here's it's not. So you make this, what do you got? Obviously chicken. There's eggs, flour. What's in it?
No flour.
No flour.
It is chicken, eggs, baking powder,
okay,
and baking soda.
And that's it.
And whatever seasoning you want to put in there.
Oh, okay. Now you
It's bread. It's made out of chicken.
It's not bread.
Yes.
I'm not.
Look at that. Everybody look at
that. I don't know. I don't know.
All
right.
The first time I seasoned it pretty heavy with chicken rub.
You're right.
And this time I just used.
Because it's chicken.
I used fajita seasoning.
Oh, fajita seasoning.
Yeah.
Okay. You just use whole eggs or egg whites?
Whole eggs.
Whole eggs. And you whip them up or?
Yeah.
Huh? Smells a little bit like a foot.
It's a little more bland than the last one. But it doesn't taste bad. It's just not a whole lot of flavor to it.
Shop bread.
Yes, it is.
It's not bread. You can't make a sandwich out of this.
You could.
I mean, you could, but it needs something.
It needs some more seasoning, I think.
It needs like,
I seasoned it a little too much last time.
she went a little light.
Yeah, I think it is a little light.
So, okay, I understand the concept. It's spongy like bread. Mm-hmm. But
You should show this to Paula Dean.
yeah, here's what I was gonna say. You could take that, cut it into several pieces, and put some gravy on it, and call it some sort of
Yep.
chickeny.
Well, I had an idea to season it real heavy with garlic.
Uh-huh.
Make like a garlic bread. Put marinara on there and some noodles.
Yeah, like a
Chicken parm, but with bread.
not bread, but anyway. Stop calling it bread. It's not bread.
Okay.
All right, chicken bread. All right.
What do you rate it? 1 out of 10.
Out of 10, I'll give it a 2.5.
Oh, you son of a...
3, maybe, on a good day. It needed more flavor.
Yeah.
It just didn't have a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah. Well, the first time I did it is too much, and I can see that wasn't enough, so I have to find a happy medium.
So with that, I understand what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Couldn't make a sandwich out of it because it's too dense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if you just wanted to use that as a substitute for something, but I mean, really, you're just eating chicken. You're just eating chicken.
Yeah, but if you can't have bread, can't have gluten or whatever, hey.
No, I mean, whatever. It is.
Good alternative.
Yeah, it's a good alternative to just making chicken meatloaf. Oh, you did. Anyway, you just didn't.
I didn't squirt ketchup on it.
We don't have to. I mean, anyway, no, it's not terrible. I'm not saying it's not terrible. It's okay. It just needs a little more flavor.
Put some salsa on it. Yeah,
you could do that, like the marinara thing. Mm-hmm. Make like a chicken parm kind of thing with that. I don't know. Maybe toast it in a skillet. Just throw a little olive oil in the skillet, kind of brown it on both sides to give it a little.
Throw
bit.
it in the toaster. Period.
No, it won't work, dude. It's not bread. Stop acting. Can't. Anyway, all right, we're done with the chicken bread. Okay, so comedians this week, our top 10 list of our favorite comedians, and I know we'll have some the same, but not too many. I don't think. I went more traditional stand up, but a lot of that goes into movies. So, Steve Martin, stand up comic, went into acting and all that, and did great in both. So
heck of a guy,
just an ass. God, he is. Him and Billy Crystal both were mean, just mean, and excuse me, chicken bread coming up. When I met him, we're all in this area where if you weren't a celebrity or you weren't part of the thing, you couldn't get in there. Mm-hmm. And there's literally, there was everybody from J-Lo to Vern, Mini-Me. He was in there. Yeah. He was awesome. We had such a good time with him. He was so much fun. And we're all sitting there at the bar drinking, just having fun, talking. Billy Crystal walks up. I'm like, hey, I just, I'm not going to take any of your time, but I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of your movies. Love your movies. Love your stuff. And he was like, yeah, is that it? Like, are you done now? And I didn't know what to say. So it kind of took me back a little bit, but then I was like, you don't treat people that way. It doesn't even matter if you're in a bad mood. Thank you. That's all I had to say. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then walk off.
Yeah.
But no, he was just real rude. Steve Martin, we were playing. So I was it was for the Muhammad Ali's fundraiser. It was called Celebrity Fight Night.
Yeah.
So it was an all-star band. So Colt, it was me and Colt there. I brought Colt along so he could make sure they were playing my songs right.
Right.
And which I don't know how David Foster would screw up my stuff. But anyway, so Colt was playing. So Colt was waiting. So Colt was in a little room waiting to play, right? To walk on stage and play.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Martin was playing. He had his bluegrass band with him. Really good. Really good. So,
very good.
And they were all there. And of course, I think Colt knew a few of them from Nashville, stuff like that. So they were talking and Colt has a guitar on. He's standing there kind of just playing his guitar. And Steve Martin walks in. Well, he stares at Colt like Colt owes him money or something, And then he walks around everybody and goes and stands in a corner by himself and with another gentleman. Well, then the other guy's like, hey, guys, come over here. So literally Colt is sitting at a table in this it's a conference room, a big, big conference area. A guy comes up. The guy he goes, hey, we're going to have you leave the room. And Colt's like, why? I'm supposed to be in here. He was like, yeah, but Mr. Martin wants to rehearse and he doesn't want anyone in here. And Colt's like, well, I get it, but where am I supposed to go? I'm not just going to go stand out in this hallway.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Steve Martin kind of threw a little fit and was like, anyway, they just ended up practicing and Colt sat there. And I mean, really, they're not going to move Colt.
I was going to say, if Steve could move him.
Yeah, no. So anyway, so that was my deal, and then trying to say hi to Steve Martin, and it was just awkward and weird, and he was weird, and it was odd, and it was a shame that him and Billy Crystal were that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they did not make my top 10 list.
Yeah.
And I love their movies, man. I mean, there's so many good movies, but so all right, you want to start or you want me to start? How do you want to do this? What do you want to do?
Go ahead. Who's your number 10?
Okay, it's going to be hard because there's going to be some people in here that maybe you might not have heard of, but I think my number 10 would have to be man, that's going to be hard. I think I'm really leaning towards Don Rickles is my number 10.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So and I tell you why, just because his comedy, I just grew up on the tail end of when he was, doing his thing, right? Him and Dean Martin and those guys. I was growing up right in that late 70s, early 80s, and that was already kind of starting to fade out at that point. So, but he was always funny. And especially now, watching those old roasts, the Dean Martin roasts and stuff. Oh my, he's brutal.
Yeah.
He's so brutal. And it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
But, even when when he's in the movies, all those, oh my God, it's so funny. He's so good.
Yeah.
So he's probably my number 10.
Yeah. Well, for my number 10, I have one and only Mr. Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman,
dude, what a voice that guy had.
It's crazy, man. He and that.
What a sad ending to his life, man.
Yeah, that was bad. But I mean, that's a lot of people. A lot of people are have issues and all that, and he had one of the funniest, like his because you like Norm Macdonald. Obviously, Norm's probably going to be your number one guy, but not to jump ahead. But they had kind of a, Phil's his, I don't know what you call that, the comedic stance and stuff was just kind of ahead of time, ahead of where he was and what was going on when he was going on. And even his writings, he wrote for tons of other people too. It even kind of elevated them to a different thing. Yeah. Just a super talented guy and funny and hilarious. Just especially Saturday Night Live stuff.
Oh, yeah. He played Bill McNeil on News Radio. I used to love that show. Watched it every day.
So good. But
he's Troy McClure on The Simpsons.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
good stuff.
Yeah,
man.
Phil Hart. Yeah,
that's a sad end. His wife shot him, killed him.
Yeah. But, I mean, What do you do? That's women, man.
Yeah.
That is women. All right. So number 9 for me, we'll move on. Move on from the suicide and murder scenes.
Yeah.
Number 9 for me is a guy named John Caparulo. Okay. If you don't know who he is,
I have no idea.
dude, he is he's kind of white trash, kind of redneck, kind of, but he's, I don't know. He's like a, like, I don't know how to explain it's real. It's country comedy kind of, but it's not. It's still,
okay.
You know what I mean? It kind of transcends over all this stuff. It's just talking like his stories growing up was kind of how everyone grew up. You know what I mean? And it's hilarious. Just, he's so funny. And just his voice. That's another thing. People who you can be really funny. And if you don't have like a voice to match it or something, it doesn't work sometimes. And his voice, everything about it is just hilarious. Yeah. You got to check him out, dude. John Caparulo. He's funny. He is absolutely. He's my number 9 guy. And he's just heard him on Johnny Dare. He was on Johnny Dare because when he came to Kansas City,
so he's a fairly new guy.
No. I mean, 1995. I think he started back in the 90s.
Okay.
So he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
He just hasn't really hit real, like he's never had that, big time thing. I mean, he's had specials on.
Sure. Probably one of those guys you'd be like, oh, him, if you saw him.
Yeah, you'd probably heard his stuff and
Sure.
people, or you kind of, if you hear him and see him, you'd be like, oh, I know who that is. I've seen that guy, But anyway, he's truly a funny guy. And just because it kind of really, it's everything he says is kind of relatable, for growing up like we did. But anyway, he's my number 9.
All right. Well, my number 9 is Seth MacFarlane. Pretty funny.
He is.
I watch Family Guy every week. I still haven't watched that. What's that? The Orville or whatever that show is called.
Oh yeah, with the space when they're doing the space. Yeah,
it's like a Star Trek looking thing.
I watched one episode of it, and it was to me, it was almost like it wasn't funny enough. It was funny parts and things like that, but it was almost kind of the one I watched, and I couldn't. I might have been, I don't know what season or what episode. But it was a little more serious than.
Oh, really?
And when I say serious, it was just a little more kind of like a normal show. It wasn't real funny all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? 10 Million Ways to Die in the West or whatever that was. And stuff like that, where it's just kind of 14-year-old humor all the time. Or like Family Guy, like that.
14-year-old humor all
the time. Yeah. I just. Yeah, his Family Guy, to me, one of the greatest sitcoms, if you want to call it a sitcom or whatever they call, I don't know, cartoon show, I guess.
Yeah,
one of the greatest ever, and I don't know how they get away with some of the things they get away with,
dude. I know,
and they have to bleep out a lot of things because he cusses throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
and but when you hear it unedited.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god,
that's pretty bad.
Oh my god, that's terrible. You know what I mean? But it is truly funny. He's a funny dude. Yeah. Okay, number 8. Now, some people might go, oh my god, how do you call? Again, he was before my time. Again, this guy is one of those. George Carlin is my number 8.
Okay,
and I'll tell you, just because again. His comedy is great, but it's real. It's like, and I can't remember. We were just talking about this the other day, and I think Chris was like, it was because he got angry.
Yeah,
and it was political.
Yeah.
Now he wasn't wrong most of the time.
Right.
But it was kind of, it got too politically driven. It got, you know what I mean? So for me, that's where I kind of lost it. But some of his earlier stuff and his stand-up, but George Carlin was so funny because it was true.
Yeah.
And it was funny. It's like, it's so funny. You can't make it up. It wouldn't be funny if you made it up.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about him. But I think, again, he was a little before me. and and so that's why he's my number number 8.
Yeah. Well, for my number 8, I have the one and only Dana Carvey. Oh, so funny. Wayne's World.
I didn't think.
Did you ever watch the Dana Carvey show?
I did.
Oh, I used to love it. It was only on for a minute, but man, I loved that.
Dana Carvey, a super brilliant dude.
Yeah.
With Wayne's World, him and Mike Myers, but
Steve Carell was on the Dana Carvey show.
Yeah. There, Dana Carvey was one of those guys who really, Saturday Night Live, obviously, there's so many of those guys come from that. So many, Adam Sandler. There's so many guys come from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And as started as writers and all that. And, but, Dana, I forgot about him. Man, so many great. Yeah, Wayne's World. When Wayne's World came out, man, there wasn't a better show. Golly.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Everybody still, swing. Everybody, this all little stuff, the little things that people, and we all still say that stuff. Anyway. All right, Dana Carvey. Gosh, dog, I forgot about him.
Who do you got for number 8?
So my number 7.
Or 7.
Yeah, number 7. A guy that kind of a little bit before my time again, but when I'd watch him, and still when you watch movies with him in it, he's just amazing, and that's Richard Pryor.
Oh yeah.
One of the funniest people on the planet, probably.
Yeah.
A little twisted, in the head, and the drugs and all the craziness. But yeah, I think Richard for me was my number 7. Again, a little before my time as far as his kind of but him and like Red Fox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Funny dudes, and great at what they do and what they did, but they were just a little bit before me and what I. But
absolutely.
Anyway, so funny, just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Well, for my number 7, I have Dan Aykroyd. Just kind of like it was just that different humor.
Yeah. Now, did he do a lot of stand up though? Did Dan?
I don't think he did.
Just more of acting and writing and stuff.
Being funny.
Obviously, Saturday Night Live. Again, there's another guy who came from Saturday Night Live, made a The Great Outdoors, one of the better movies that him and John Candy dude. he's so dry. He can be. Dan Aykroyd had that real dry thing, and it just like in Tommy Boy when he was the guy. What's his name?
Mr. Zelensky.
Yeah, Mr. Zelensky. Just sent him. When the sandbag came down and smashed his balls, he was like, get him a thing of ice and send him a bottle of bubbly. You know what I mean? Just like he's that guy. Dan Aykroyd, good one. That was a good one.
Yep,
absolutely. So now, some people are going to go, well, you guys are missing so many.
Oh yeah, and I can already tell just by thinking to myself,
now,
crap, I missed this guy.
Well, like Dana Carvey and my 6. Okay, so 6 for me. This guy is. I figured you'd have him on your list too because his comedy is so dry and his comedy is so just off the wall sometimes, funny, very, very funny. And I dug it, was Mitch Hedberg. Hedberg was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just his whole, everything, the delivery, his jokes, and it's just stuff that you when you hear him say it, you're like, what? And then it's like, oh, well, that's hilarious, right? It's just like, it's that thinking joke. It's the one that it makes zero sense until he says it, and then you're like, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Okay,
yeah,
I get it. That's hilarious. Again, Johnny Dare. that's how I didn't know who Mitch Hedberg was.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was talking about great comedians, and this was years ago, and he was like, this guy's one of my favorite, and he said Mitch Hedberg. So of course I went and looked him up, and sure enough, man, I watched everything I could watch on him.
Yeah.
Just this.
His stuff is like, if you really think about it, it's like they're almost like little short dad jokes. He said, rice is great if you're really hungry and want to eat 2,000 of something.
Yeah. No, you think about it, it's just like, what? It's funny, dude. He's so funny. That's, to me, it's thinking. It's like, it's like almost rudimentary, like little dumb things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is a hippopotamus or just a really cool hippopotamus? Oh, who thinks of this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, anyway. Yeah, it's like that's all. He's just up there reciting dad jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the best dad jokes ever.
In the weirdest, like, stoner voice ever.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
My number 6 is Adam Sandler.
Good one.
That's a good one. I used to wear out that CD, the Adam Sandler "What the Hell Happened to Me" album. Oh my God!
Is that have piece of shit car on it?
Yeah.
That song, dude.
And he's at the psychiatrist's office, and he's like, the dude's trying to hypnotize him, and he's farting the whole time.
You didn't hear that.
He's
That
like,
was not me.
That wasn't me. That was you.
That
It was not me.
Oh, that's such a good that stuff. Talk about Adam Sandler. That guy came Saturday Night Live guy.
Yep.
Did all the writing and stuff like that, and then started making those movies. And I will say that some of his movies, I like Little Nicky. Was that when he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was. I did. That one was the worst. That was the worst. And then I think Mr. Deeds might have been second worst.
You didn't like Mr. Deeds?
Not really.
Oh, that's a good movie.
It was okay,
man.
but like when he got into the 50 First Dates and when he got into Just Go With It and stuff like that, those were really good movies. He did a really good job, and that's all him. I mean, he writes that stuff.
Yeah,
and obviously he's a gazillionaire now. You know. I think Netflix's biggest. He makes more money than anyone off Netflix.
Probably
because he does those movies for Netflix.
Yep.
And he's worth like $500 million or
Yeah.
something crazy now. And he looks homeless when he goes out in public.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He'll go pick up but I saw him walking with a cane, like he must have hurt himself or something. But yeah, he that guy's so funny. What was it when he was on the news? What's the news on Saturday Night Live?
Oh, the Weekend Update?
Weekend Update.
Yeah.
When he'd come in and he would be
Opera Man?
Opera Man and Cajun Man
yeah.
and all that. Dude, it's just so dumb, but it's funny, you know? Yeah, great. That was a good one. That was good. He almost made my list, but I was like, I don't know. Number 5, here's a guy that to me, you're in a space where black and white, you know, you have black comics and white comics. In that space, he's probably as influential as Richard Pryor and Red Fox and
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. Yeah, no, Bill Cosby was great. Back, I mean, obviously he wasn't. That's not good if he molests people and drugs them to do it. But
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, funny man,
Absolutely.
but his a pretty cerebral comedy.
Yep.
Like it's not just 14-year-old jokes, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but he does that too.
Yeah.
But his is more that you think about it.
Yep.
And again, real world stuff.
Mm-hmm.
and he turns it funny.
Says it in a way that you think to yourself, man, I wish I would have thought to say it that way. Cause
Yes. It's
perfect.
Yeah. And when he had the Chappelle show, I used to watch the Chappelle show as much as I could. And his skits on there,
second to none, man.
and again, you're like, that all came out of his head.
Yep.
And then when you hear the crazy story about how they offered him $50 million or something like that, and he turned it down because he wouldn't have control, he wouldn't have a bunch of stuff, and he was like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
And walked away. I don't know. I don't know that I could have walked away from $50 million. I don't know too many people who could have.
Yeah.
And like you said at the time, $50 million was ridiculous money. That was just like a bonus.
Yeah.
You know, I could have made tons more if I would have stayed 50 plus, you know, but so anyway, yeah, Dave Chappelle is my number 5, I think. And not just, you know, he's been in a lot of great movies. Oh, The Nutty Professor when he's
when he's the stand up on the with the big old gap between his teeth.
what kind of style? What kind of style, Reggie? What kind of style is that?
Right.
That's kick your ass style. You know what I mean? Just dude, he's hilarious. Dave Chappelle. That's a good one.
All right, well, my number 5 is Bob Saget.
Yeah,
So funny, man.
was funny, man.
Yeah.
Was a funny guy. He it's funny when you watch what's Full House or what
Yeah.
it was, and then he was so clean and all that, and then when you see his stand up, you're like, oh my god, that's not even the same guy.
It's shocking a little bit.
It is,
Yeah.
because he was dirty and gnarly. Funny, that's funny. Yeah,
So good.
That's a good one.
So
That was a good one.
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. This guy, number 4, probably back again, came out right as I was kind of going through school and all that, and kind of this guy, when I first heard him, I thought, why is he screaming? and then once you kind of Sam Kinison was so funny.
Yeah.
So dirty, but so funny.
Oh, yeah.
And
Big time.
And it was like, to me, you couldn't get much funnier than him, you know?
Yeah.
To know that he was a preacher, you know? He was he had his own church, was a preacher in the church.
Yeah.
And when he has one of his specials that he did, HBO specials that he did, he actually started preaching like he did when he was in the thing.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I mean, it was
awesome. I mean, I'd want to go to church there and listen to him preach too. And then he, you know, it's just, he was so good. Even the movies, even the few movies that he didn't do a lot of movies, but his parts in the movies, like when he was in, was it Back to School, when he was a professor, and he's like, oh, Mr. Helper. Just this whole thing, dude.
Yeah, he was Al Bundy's guardian angel. I'm married to children.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I heard the story. His girlfriend, he died in a car wreck, obviously, but his girlfriend was there and he wasn't dead, and the ambulance was coming. And then I guess, like, the story that she told, you know, as he was dying, she was with him, and as he was dying, she said it was the craziest thing how, you know, not to turn preachy or anything, but how he just kind of looked up and said, okay, I'm ready, and was gone, like dead.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So anyway, yeah, old Sammy Kinison. So Kenny, I was in the Dixie Cadillacs, right? So Vegas, Kinison and them were out. Sam was out there in Vegas, and this was right before I joined the band. Kenny and him, our guitar player, became really good friends. In a week's time,
Really?
they became really good friends. And Sam Kinison always wore a beret,
Oh, yeah.
and he gave it to Kenny.
Wow.
And Sam's brother called Kenny and said, hey, I need that beret back. After Sam died, I need that beret back because we're going to do a movie, and we want the beret in the movie and this and that. And Kenny's like, yeah, no, I'm not giving it back. So Kenny had it the whole time, and then Kenny passed on
I mean,
in 2020.
dude, go to a freaking store and buy a beret.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been Sam's, and he just wanted, because he had his overcoat that he wore, and he had all this, but he didn't have the beret, and somehow they knew that he gave it to Kenny.
Yeah,
and Kenny kept it and never gave it back.
He would have never got it back.
No.
Oh,
and who knows where it is? Probably in the trash now.
Yeah,
you know, because when Kenny died and when he got divorced and all that, who knows where all that stuff went? But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. Well, my number 4. That's where we're on. Number 4,
number 4. Right? Yeah,
my number 4. Will Ferrell.
Oh, good one. Good one. Again, another guy. Not a stand-up guy, I don't think. No. I don't think he did stand-up so much, but obviously one of my favorite. One of the
funniest
comedic actors for sure.
Yeah.
He looks like he's special needs. I mean, you know what I mean? He does. Yeah. He just looks, everything about him's wrong. He's tall and goofy and, oh my God, old school and just.
Have you seen that clip? It's off of, I think, Funny or Die or one of those sites. It's a he answers the door and it's supposed to be like his landlord yelling
his daughter.
at him, but it's like this little kid.
It's his 3-year-old daughter. It's hilarious.
You can tell she's like barely able to say the stuff that he's wanting to say.
Yeah, that's his daughter.
Oh, was it? Really?
100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing. That's hilarious. He's like, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Whatever," and she was like, "I want my money now," and she's cussing at him. Hilarious.
So it says here, Madonna is reinventing herself again. Hey, did you get that letter from the doctor yet?
I did.
What did it say?
My dad's gay.
I knew it. Those blood tests don't lie. Who's that?
It's my landlord, Pearl.
Pearl.
My rent.
Oh, I'm getting out of here, man. She's nasty.
No, please. I need to stay.
This is going to be ugly.
It's gonna be ugly.
Hi, Pearl. You don't have
Where's
to raise
the
your
rent?
voice.
You pay you!
I can give you half.
You pay! No, bitch!
Hey, don't talk to me like that, okay?
I'm kiss crap.
Look,
Tired of this crap. That's so good. So good.
Yeah, that was his little girl.
Yeah,
That's funny.
That's crazy.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
Okay, so we're at top 3 right now.
Yeah.
Here we go. Top 3. My top 3, and it's because I think as growing up, not only their stand up but their movies and everything kind of all, even up to today right now. Number 3, Eddie Murphy. Probably one of the funniest guys on the planet. His movies were all great.
Yep.
And we talked about it right before we started doing the podcast today. One of those super talented guys. Mm-hmm. I want to be a stand-up comic. Okay. I'll be the best at it. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to be an actor. Okay. I'm going to be almost the best at it.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be a singer.
Yep.
Okay. Why not just be really, really damn good at it?
Yep.
Okay. That's fine. I'll do that too. Just super talented guy.
It's like freaking Timberlake, man.
He's so.
Guy's like one of those guys that does whatever he wants.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, him too. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx, another guy. Those guys are talented beyond. We can't fathom the talent that I can't. It's like anything they want to do, they're just great at it. You know. But Eddie Murphy, just you think about like the stand up Raw.
Oh yeah.
And just oh my God. Just those skits that he did in his stand up routines, Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah.
Hot tub. Get hot in a hot tub. Ow, don't back won't kill myself. Yeah, I mean, just like all that kind of stuff. Growing up, that was what was on TV, for me, and Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Boys and girls, this is how we answer the door in my neighborhood. Who is it? Anyway, so for me and his movies, obviously Dr. Dolittle and The Nutty Professor.
Coming to America.
I was getting to that one.
Trading Places.
Dude. I mean, 48 hours. All the 48 hours.
Yeah.
Dude, so
Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop. Or not for Beverly Hills Cop,
that
not
too,
48.
I mean,
so it's just like they're so good.
Yeah.
And Billy Ray Valentine. he was just one of those mega talented guys, and he came out at the right time. Everything he was about was funny. Everything that he did was funny.
Yep. Buckwheat.
Oh my
Buckwheat sings.
Buckwheat, welcome Panub. Yeah, dude, come on. It's the funniest stuff ever. So Eddie Murphy, number 3 to me all time.
All right. Well, number 3 for me, Chris Farley.
Good one.
Yeah.
I don't know that he did a lot of stand up.
I don't think he did.
But
I don't think he did. But
just his comedic,
oh, dude,
his physical comedy for him, John Belushi.
Yeah.
And that's what he really truly was like John
Patterned
Belushi.
himself after John Belushi.
Yeah, 100%. And died same age.
Yep.
Both did Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
Both ate too much and had drug problems.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I did back in my sophomore year speech class, I did a PowerPoint presentation on Chris Farley.
You did?
Yeah.
You did.
Wish I still had it.
That's funny.
I got docked. No, it was my English class. And I got docked 10 points because I had a little, in PowerPoints, you could have the pictures fly in, and stuff like that. I had one picture come flying in. It goes like a fart sound.
And they docked you?
Yeah, my English teacher's just like, that is not funny. I was like, oh, but no. What do you do? You're sitting up there in front of your everybody sitting there staring at you.
I'd have been like, who laughed? Everybody would have raised their hand.
I rest my case.
I rest my case.
Mic drop.
That's what I would have done. Chris Farley, what good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Number 2, all time. It's hard between these two guys. I will say, again, this guy's super funny. Saw him doing the stand-up thing first, and then now his movies are hilarious.
Yeah.
His physical comedy's pretty funny just because, he's kind of a spastic little dude, and that's Kevin Hart.
Spastic little dude.
He is. He's like, kind of a little spaz sometimes. Kevin Hart, number 2 for me, probably all time. So, again, his stand-up stuff is probably might be the funniest stand-up comic ever. Mm-hmm. Definitely sold more tickets than anybody, and sold out bigger arenas than anyone.
Think about that. You have just
one guy on a stage,
a microphone,
and a stage,
and a sold-out arena, dude. How much?
Madison Square Garden. His stage was in the dead center.
Yeah.
And there were seats all around it, and every seat was full. He sold it out. That's one guy just standing there with a microphone, like you said. That's nuts. That's amazing. Just to think about it.
Yeah.
To be able to draw that many people, one guy. Yeah. I mean, his movies. I mean,
pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
40-year-old virgin when he walks into the TV store.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so fun. It's just funny. It's funny. And him and Will Ferrell and like Get Hard and
that movie that's a sleeper right there.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And Central Intelligence with The Rock.
Dude, him and The Rock make like a very funny
pair
team
because you have The Rock, who's like a mountain of a man.
Yeah,
he's a giant, and then you have Kevin Hart, who looks like a third grader.
To me, it's like a different version of Farley and Spade.
Kind of, yeah, kind of.
It's like a
very
good team, but just kind of a different.
So different.
Yeah.
So but they do well together. I think, like I said, for me, it doesn't get much funnier as a stand-up guy, and his movies are all funny. For the most part. I did see him in that serious movie he did, and where he kind of takes care of the guy who's a quadriplegic.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And I don't remember the name of it. Ashley and I watched it. It's a really good movie. He did a really good job. Really, really good job.
Okay. I'll have to
kind of good.
Check that
kind of good movie. So
yeah. That was your number 2?
That was number 2. He's number 2.
Well, my number 2 is Jim Carrey.
Good one.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Physical comedy and over physical comedy
is
so yeah
it's and his dramatic stuff is even great.
Very believable guy.
Yeah.
Like, because he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And he
My first exposure to that side of Jim Carrey was that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yep.
I remember seeing that movie, just like, I was like, dude.
Yeah. I remember watching his stand up because he did a lot of stand up too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he started stand up and
did,
then
yes.
went to Living Color, or was he on
Living Color?
Was he on in Living Color and then did the stand up, or
No.
well, probably at
No,
the
it's-
same time or close?
Yeah.
So I seen some early stand up stuff of him, and of course he did a lot of impressions and things like that. But he has physical comedy, like
Yeah.
he would do the news anchor in the wind. Because he's like triple joined in his elbows, and his arms can go back behind his head, and like they're flapping. And oh, dude, it's hilarious. But he then all his of course all his stuff in Living Color, Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh, yeah.
And all the just good stuff.
Yep.
Then his movies what's the one that Bruce Almighty.
Oh,
I love
that's
that
the one
movie.
you go to?
That's one of my favorites.
Really?
That's one of my
Wow.
favorites. Just because I think the movie's good. I think it's a
Yeah.
good movie.
Yeah.
But that and what's Liar Liar?
Yep.
Oh my God, Liar Liar might be my favorite that he did. Just when in the pen scene when he's like, yeah. Anyway, Jim, that's a good one, Jim Carrey, man.
Hey, what's up? Your cholesterol.
How come you didn't call? Because I didn't want to. When he can't lie.
Well, I've got a few honorable mentions.
Okay, I have
So
a few
before
too.
I hit my number one,
Yep.
I'll
We'll
hit
do
my honorable mentions.
Okay, so one of my honorable mentions, one of the funniest people I got to just when I think about funny guys doing some stand up and doing shows and movies. Very, I don't know how to. I don't know. It's one of those. I always think about funny people. He's one of those guys because I think when he was on a TV show that I watched. But he had a big part in that and some other shows. But Jonathan Winters,
Yeah, okay.
just a funny guy,
Yeah.
and his acting and stuff like that. To me, it was he's definitely one of my honorable mention guys. And I have 3 honorable mention. Well, I had like 16 honorable mention guys, but kind of narrowed it down to like 3. But yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that almost made the list as one of my favorite guys.
Well, I have a bunch of honorable mentions. A few anyway. I have Bill Burr.
Yeah. Oh, funny,
Dude.
He's funny.
Yeah, very funny. Steve Carell.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this guy didn't make my list, but John Belushi.
Yeah. That's like Louis C.K. and those kind of guys.
I probably should have put him and Dan Aykroyd together because Blues Brothers was just one of my favorites.
And those two guys together was magic. You
Yeah.
know, that on screen was magic on screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, who do you got for number one?
So, well, and I have a couple more guys. So Jonathan Winters was one of my honorable mention guys.
Okay.
One of my other honorable mention guys, funny man, and I love watching him today on Family Feud, is Steve Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Harvey is a funny individual. His stand-up routine. Oh, I unplugged myself.
Oh, no.
Can't come unplugged. You can't do that.
Got to have the phones,
Got to
man.
have the phones. I can't hear myself. You know what I'm
I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself.
Can't hear myself. I need more monitor. So, his stand-up, like the Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
Did you hear kind of how they did that?
Uh-uh.
It was kind of a shot in the dark kind of thing, and they pulled it off, and
Yeah.
it worked superbly for all of them. So yeah, it's pretty cool. If you go to the behind the story or that of the Kings of Comedy tour, and see how they just kind of
Really?
went and did that without being the Kings of Comedy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome, but they killed it, and
Yeah.
what a great show! But his stand-up routine is hilarious. It was just so
yeah.
funny, and just watching him on Family Feud, Now he's the best host on the planet. He's hilarious. It's so good. Anyway, so Steve Harvey, and one of the guys that it's kind of he's kind of one of those novelty funny guys is Rodney Carrington.
Oh yeah,
Freaking hilarious.
Absolutely.
We go see him every time he's in town. It's just funny. So anyway, so that's my honorable mention.
Yeah.
Number one for me, because there's a lot of things. His stand-up was amazing. His acting, his comedic acting was great, but his serious acting was probably even better. Was Robin Williams.
Oh.
Probably, hands down, one of the most entertaining people on the planet. Mm-hmm. And truly my favorite all time.
He was one of those that was on my list that when you told me it was on your list, I took it. Yeah.
Yeah, just he to me, the guy is the epitome of comedy. His physical comedy is great. And I think we talked about it one time where they said he stole everything that he had. Like his whole show was stolen. He stole it from other comics.
Yep.
And then he would do it better than they did, and they'd get mad.
Yep.
But whether he stole it, whether he wrote it, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He was the best at it.
Yep.
And they would have never made it to where he is. So,
what a jerk, though, if you think about it.
yeah, I mean, I guess if that's true, then that's kind of, but I don't know because you think about like, even in his movies, he couldn't steal that character.
Yeah.
That character's just, they wrote it, for him.
Yeah.
And so he came in and did it.
That would be the equivalent of if he got booked on a bill where it was Tate Stevens, Craig Morgan, and Garth Brooks, we'll say. And you go out there like, hey, Craig, I'm going to go do my set. You go out there and do all Craig Morgan songs. Just do his whole set.
Yeah.
And come back and be like, hey, got the stage warmed up for you, fella.
All right, you're next. You're up. There was, funny enough, Garth Brooks did that. Because he just started. He tells the story. It's hilarious. And he's like, so he just started his band.
Yeah.
Santa Fe was the name of the band. And they were playing at a big club there in Tulsa. And he said they opened for Dwight Yoakam. They only knew a handful of songs, and Guitars and Cadillacs was one of the songs they knew, and they played it. But he thought he was doing Dwight a favor. Like, we're going to warm them up. They're going to get, that's the song we came to hear. And then when he comes out, they're going to hear it, and they're going to be like, yeah, that's it. Not so good.
Come on, Troil.
Hey, Troil, you need to get off the stage. Yeah, so I just thought that was kind of funny. But no, so Robin Williams, by far, my favorite. So
I'll give you one guess of who my favorite is.
I don't know. Could be Norm Macdonald. I don't know.
Ding, ding. You got it.
Norm Macdonald.
So funny, man.
It is funny.
So
It is funny. It is very cerebral. It's kind of dry, and you either like it or you don't. You either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I know you get it. You're ate up with it. And I think he's funny. He's a truly funny man. And his timing's awful amazing. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
It's awful amazing.
Yep.
And just like the one that he said, you played it the other day on the bus, you were like, the guy was like, yeah, and he just lost his daughter. And he's like, I just told him, man. He's like, what'd you say? You found her?
Yeah.
Like, no, what? No. Yeah, just like little stuff. Those little things. People, oh my God.
It's so good. It's, he was an absolute there's nobody like Norm Macdonald.
No, he was truly one of a kind as far as a comic goes. His stand-up routine is it's almost like he's not really doing comedy.
Here we go.
I was 22, and I walked in there, and he had lost his son, and he was sitting there, and he was having a martini, and I just walked over, and I just kind of stood there. I didn't want to bother him, and he was just sitting there, and he looked up, and he was nice, and I just went,
I found your son. That's it. Bob Stagg has been our guest.
So good.
It's like that kind of stuff is just,
Yeah.
that's how his whole routine was that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's his timing is terribly amazing.
It's
It's terrible and it's amazing at the same time. But that dry just kind of, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. I get it. That's why you're number one. So, well, that's cool. I think we had enough different right there that, and I'm sure, like you said, you had Robin Williams on yours. And
Yeah, there was a couple. I only had to take a couple off my list.
But I went with more of stand-up
Yeah.
kind of guys because when I think of comedians, I think stand-up. Larry the Cable Guy was one of my. He was one of
That
my
whole blue collar thing.
Yeah. Bill Engvall. I got to work with Bill. What a great guy. Funny man. And Foxworthy and those guys. Ron White, another guy, truly funny man.
Yeah.
So they were in my honorable mentions, but like I said, we could go on for hours about
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean,
comedians because there's so
Red
many.
Fox.
Yeah, like
That's
I said,
another-
Red Fox in Harlem Nights. Red Fox, his character, golly, it's so good.
When he's yelling at Della Reese about
and
the orange juice.
Shut up, motherfucker, dude. She's so. Oh, that's a great movie. That is a good movie. That's a sleeper. That's one of those sleeper kind of cultish movies that you're like, dang it, what a good one. That's a good one. Man, well, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
By the time you edit this, dude, it'll be 45 minutes.
all my blunders and mistakes and burps
That's
and
all right.
what have you.
The farting and burping that's going on. These do give you a lot of gas. Not gonna lie.
Monsters. Yeah.
Because you take big drinks of them. You can't just like sip on them.
Oh, I know.
you just
Dude,
gotta like chug, chug, chug.
3 minutes and one of those is gone for me. So that's, yeah.
So if you want to hear anything, we're going to have some cool guests on. I'm working on a lineup of people to bring in. I want to have some people come in, do some more in-house, maybe do some more Zoom calling, whatever, if we have to. But we're gonna get some more guests on and get them in here. And so yeah, if you want to hear anything or hear anyone on the show that we can get, let me know. Leave us a comment, leave us a 5-star rating and all that, and maybe we'll get some. You know what we need to do? We need to go out and try to get some sponsors to really push this thing up a little bit, to bump it up, give it a little boost.
Sponsored by Blue Chew.
By Blue Chew, if you want your Manscaped.
Say Blue Chew and Manscaped.
Yeah, that's perfect. That'd be perfect.
There we go.
All right. Well, that's it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey, guys, thanks for listening. Want to ask a question for a future episode? Well, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter with hashtag SweetLifePodcast. And be sure to give us a 5-star rating and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stay up to date on the latest news and information for the Sweet Life Podcast. And we'll see you next time.